Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Ahia, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah. It's Yahweh. His only begotten son name is Yahweh Shai, not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christus, not Yahushua, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shai. So God give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Akwaf who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from GMS Orlando Camp, coming at you with another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification, another daily edification. Lord's willing, this be edifying. And this is for educational purposes only. This is for educational purposes only. And the title of this lesson, Joel 2:20, is being fulfilled. I woke up this morning about 5 to some beautiful news, man. And it's about prophecy. What I woke up to was Joel 2:20 playing out. Lord willing, this be edifying.
Let's start with this. Today, for the very first time in a very long time, we are witnessing what appears to be a serious conflict in this covenant relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia. Let's do this. Let's go to the map because I want to try and set this scene for you. So, because I think this is one of those stories that if you can visualize it, you can better understand it. So, we've told you about all the different incidents that have been taking place here in the Persian Gulf over the last several weeks, right? How volatile this region right here has become of late. It's almost like, think of it this way. It's like this area here, it's like a line of demarcation between two countries that hate each other's guts. They despise each other, right? So here's Saudi Arabia on this side of the Persian Gulf, right? Saudi Arabia, which needs the United States protection here in the Gulf, which it offers, which also needs the United States protection here in Yemen, where it's fighting a war, right? Now let me show you the adversaries, the other side, right? Here's Iran, as you can see right there, which supports the factions in Yemen that are at war with Saudi Arabia. And also, what can we say about Iran? Well, they want dominion of this area of the Persian Gulf and are trying to establish it with its navy. So both Iran and Saudi Arabia, right? You have Iran and Saudi Arabia fighting for hegemony in this region. They both want to say, we're the boss, you know, we're controlling this situation. But something happened last year.
Now let's read this. Hey, this is beautiful, man. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army. This northern army is talking about North America, Babylon the Great's military. And will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea. This is the east sea, the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. This is the utmost sea, the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. Who is the he that have done great things? Babylon the Great, the revised Roman Empire. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's read that real quick. 2nd Ezra, chapter 11 and 39. It reads, Art not thou it that remainest of the fourth beast, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times may come through them? And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, Daniel 7, and had power over the world with great filthiness, the Roman Empire, and over the whole compass of the earth. Now that's Babylon the Great, North America, the revised Roman Empire, with much wicked oppression. So long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, Israelites, thou hast hurt the peaceable. That's Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indian, Haitians. You Israelites. Thou hast loved liars. He'll tell you that in Psalms 50, that they joined with Babylon, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and has cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. The other nations did Edom no harm, man. The other nations did not do Edom no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealings come up to the highest. Your sins have reached into heaven. And thy pride unto the mighty, the highest also have looked upon the proud times, Obadiah 1 and 3, the pride of your heart have deceived thee. And behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Talking about Babylon the Great. And therefore appear no more thy eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, 7 heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. It's going to Isaiah 14, talking about how all the nations are going to rejoice when the rulers of the earth go down, man. Okay, the wicked rulers of the earth. Hey, this is beautiful, man. It's Joel 2 and 20 playing out, man.
Something that began to alter this a little bit. And let me show you another map so we can capture what we're talking about here. Bring that in if you can, Kevin. All right, here it is. It's these two dots, essentially, right here. See these two locations that are not far from Riyadh? Back last September of last year, there was a bold attack. I mean, they hit them hard. These are the famous Aramco oil fields in Saudi Arabia. And one of them occurred right here. This is called, and I'll try pronouncing it, but it's Bukyuk, right here in this region. And the other one occurred here in the region known as Kurais. Those are two big, giant, major oil fields. They knocked out oil production for more than 2 weeks, shut them down. And there's reason to suspect that, who was behind it? Iran, right? Iran behind the attack. So what happened? Saudi Arabia turns to the United States after this incident, and they say, please help us, United States. So the United States sent them several batteries of Patriot missiles and 2 jet fighter squadrons to defend these particular oil fields. So guess what happened within the past week? The United States says to Saudi Arabia, sorry, Charlie, we're going to take those Patriot missiles and the fighter squadrons back. You're on your own. Because the Saudis were still producing and shipping out too much oil, causing the price of U.S. crude to tank, and all the businesses here were complaining to the White House. The White House picks up the phone. They threaten Saudi Arabia, essentially telling them, look, you either stop producing or you're going to lose the protection that we're giving you. And then the White House did it. It wasn't just a threat. President Trump pulled the protection. So now, guess what Saudi Arabia does? Guess what they've just done? They just announced that they're going to reduce their output of oil again by another 1 million barrels a day.
Now, Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest allies of North America, man. Okay?
Right? So, essentially, as I lay out this scenario for you, you have to ask yourself, who's the winner in all of this and who's the loser? Well, the winner in all of this, say Middle East experts, is Iran, interestingly enough. While they're also saying that for the first time in a long time, they're seeing the Saudi veneer, if you will, showing signs of cracking. Let me put up another sign that kind of shows you what we're talking about. These are the signs.
And that's why these nations is going to go to war, well, in a land barren and desolate. Let's read this again. Joel 2 and 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, North America's military, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, Persian Gulf, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. Those great things is their sins have reached into heaven, man. Their hurtful works are fulfilled. The wicked of the earth. It says it also in Isaiah 34. And also in 2nd Ezra it said. It's Isaiah 34 in verse 34 and 3. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. It's going into Joel 2 and 20, man. Okay, that stink shall come up, man. That ill savor.
Signs that the Saudis are hurting, right? Oil demand down, right? Nobody wants their oil because of COVID-19. That's tough for a country that's basically a one-trick pony economy, right? They're forced to cut their production, right? They say that they will now pay for their own defense. Really? And Iran is not letting up, and now we add something else. We have learned that it's going to begin to tax its own people, as we see here in the bottom. The kingdom is actually increasing its VAT, or VAT, it's a value-added tax, which is what they call it there. We don't have it here. It's a tax on consumers and businesses by a whopping 15%. That's a situation, something we haven't seen in a while. This is friction. This is pain where there usually isn't any. Now, how does this change the Middle East dynamic? That's what we're going to drill down on, right here on the News of Rick Sanchez, where we believe it's time to do news again.
And what's finna happen is Saudi Arabia is going to cleave to the guard, which is Russia, man. Just like all the other nations. They're going to cleave to Russia, man. Russia is the superpower now, man. Okay? Russia is the new superpower. Now, North America, Babylon and Great have took their Patriot missiles from them, man. And this is their ally, man. Saudi Arabia. One of the biggest allies, man, because of the oil. It's Joel 2 and 2. Joel 2 and 20 is being fulfilled, man.
Is one of the world's richest countries hurting? And how much? How many states in the U.S. are opening restaurants today? Michelle Greenstein's going to handle that for us. Is the world's largest retail entertainment venue really reopening? Disney? All right, let's begin with the curious case of Saudi Arabia. For decades, it has flaunted its wealth on the world stage, oftentimes to the point of seeming almost repugnant about it. And with the exception of Iran, countries big and small all over the world have told Saudi Arabia, whatever you want, you can have. But COVID-19 and the circumstances we're seeing now globally may be changing that. Is it episodic? Is it long-term? We've expanded coverage on this story, and we're going to begin with RT correspondent John Huddy.
Saudi Arabia, like the rest of the world, has been struggling with the coronavirus pandemic. The kingdom of 34 million people has more than 42,000 confirmed cases and close to 300 deaths, enough to hit the economy there hard as well. So much so, Riyadh is planning on tripling its VAT, the value-added tax on basic goods, from 5% to 15% starting July 1st, while also suspending the cost of living allowance to its citizens starting June 1st. Saudi Arabia instituted the VAT 2 years ago as part of an overall plan to cut its reliance on the world's crude oil market. The cost of living allowance of 1,000 riyals, or about $270 per month, to state employees started in 2018 to help offset the increased cost of the VAT and a rise in the price of petrol. Now, with revenues falling because of the coronavirus pandemic, the kingdom is looking to recoup the money lost. The country's finance minister, Mohammed Al-Jadaan, said in a statement the measures are aimed at helping put public finances in a position to support the economy as it emerges from lockdown, adding, quote, "These measures are painful but necessary to maintain financial and economic stability over the medium to long term and overcome the unprecedented coronavirus crisis with the least damage possible." The question is how much damage these measures will have. They're the most drastic action taken yet by a major Gulf oil producer since oil prices plunged more than half in March. The International Monetary Fund has projected that all 6 energy-producing Gulf states in the Gulf Cooperation Council, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and Oman will be...
You see, they showing, hey, that Joel 2 and 20 right here, man. Saudi Arabia, man. That's that land barren and desolate.
...be in economic recession this year. And as the GCC states grapple with the financial outlook post-pandemic, Saudi Arabia is all...
See right there? Read it again. Joel 2 and 20. Just read it again. Hey, because this is prophecy, man. You can't make this up, man. Joel 2 and 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. What you see out there? Barren and desolate is Saudi Arabia, man. All oil fields, man. And it's a great plain to fight war, man. Okay? A plain, a valley of where you can fight great war, man. Okay? Yahweh Shaphat, man.
Also planning to cut its oil production by 1 million barrels starting June 1st to reportedly further help support the global oil markets. Kuwait and the UAE also plan additional cuts. Meantime, the United States is removing 2 Patriot missile batteries that had been guarding Saudi oil fields from Iranian attacks in what was reportedly the fallout from the dispute over the Saudi oil price war with Russia. Asked about the removal of the Patriot batteries, President Trump said this last week.
Well, I don't want to talk about it, but we're doing some things. We're making a lot of moves in the Middle East and elsewhere. We're doing a lot of things all over the world militarily. We've been taken advantage of all over the world, our military. And
that's facts. Real quick, I got to pause that to show it to you.
Because there is talk of U.S. military intervention in Venezuela, which President Trump says he is not ruling out, and because there seems to be a run-up to a war with Iran, and because we're now engaged in some way militarily in 76 countries around the world. Think about that. If you're shaking your head and as you hear that number, you probably should be. In 76 countries around the world, we have some type of military presence or some type of engagement. In fact, here, I'm going to show it to you so you can see it for yourself. It's even more dramatic when you actually look at it on a map. Now, here's the map of the world. And what I'm going to do is, first I want to light up the countries where we have military bases. There are 44 of them in all. Everything you see there in red, those are the countries where the United States now has.
Now look right here, Saudi Arabia, the Red Sea, and the Persian Gulf. Look at Iran. Look at Russia. North America ain't getting in there, man. Okay? Russia is going to be that new superpower, man.
Military bases, and we've been adding an awful lot in the last 10 or 15 years. Now, let's show you the countries where we are conducting counterterrorism training. 56 countries around the world. See all of those little targets right there? That's where we suspect that there are terrorists, and we have our officials there, or our military officials training the military officials of each of those countries that you see along this map. Now, let's show the countries where we are shooting at people or shooting at buildings, either using our planes or our drones. There are 7 countries in the world where we are shooting things out of the sky, essentially. Let's show those right there. And you see that in those countries as well, and by the way, those are the ones that have that little white stripe you see right there. See, like those? And it's Yemen, and it's part of Somalia, and it's Pakistan and Afghanistan and Libya, etc.
And Libya is one of the names that I'm going to read in Ezekiel 38 that's going to join to Russia. Because Russia shall be the guard for all these nations, for all the allies that's joined to America.
And then finally, I want to show you the countries where we have actual combat troops, boots on the ground, as we often say, soldiers, military soldiers in those countries. There are 15 of them. See them? It's all that you see right there in blue, right? So essentially, we're spread out then.
And that's what And that's what happened to the Roman Empire, man. They were spread too thin. Hey, it's nothing new under the sun, man. Okay? Ecclesiastes 1, 9 and 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 and 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. Tell you there's nothing new under the sun, man. And you heard him say it. North America is spread too thin, man. Just like the Roman Empire was. Why? Because North America, Babylon the Great, is the revised Roman Empire, man.
You could make the argument that this scenario has picked up speed with the invasion of Iraq, a country that is now completely destroyed, more than you could ever imagine. In fact,
why? Because, hey, they are the harbingers of death, man. And everywhere they go at, they bring death, man. Okay? Now, going back to this, I just want to show you what Trump just said. Let's run it back right here at...
all over the world, our military, and
See?
in the sense that and this has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia, this has to do with other countries, frankly, much more.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the Patriot missile battery withdrawal did not signal any decreasing support for Saudi Arabia, nor was it related to the ongoing oil dispute between Saudi Arabia and Russia. Pompeo said the U.S. still considers Iran a threat. It will likely be a topic of discussion when Secretary Pompeo meets with Israeli officials this week in Jerusalem, where he's also expected to discuss Israel's West Bank annexation plans and China's control of Israel's Haifa port. For the news with Rick Sanchez, John Huddy.
Great stuff, John. Thanks for putting that together for us. So what do you do when all you got is oil? Suddenly, nobody wants it. Joining us now are two perfect guests to discuss this topic. Former UK MP George Galloway and economist and noted professor Richard Wolff. Professor, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of this sticky wicket that suddenly the Saudi Arabians find themselves in?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that anybody who continues to believe Secretary of State Pompeo really needs to clean their ears and reopen their eyes to understand. You had it right, Rick.
Because they have no understanding.
This is a very important break in the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia. They used to work together pretty well, pretty consistently, to make a lot of money for oil companies by moving the price up or down as needed. Now they've had a falling out. The United States, in the leadership of Mr. Trump, wants to make friends among the people doing the oil fracking and in the oil business in the middle of our country, from Canada in the north through Texas in the south. To do that, you've got to get the price up. And to get the price up, the biggest producer of oil in the world is Saudi Arabia. We've had the COVID virus that lessens the demand, simple law of economics. Cut the supply so far down that the price of oil goes up. That is what the people in the Midwest, the frackers, want, and that's what the oil producers want. The fact that it'll hurt all of us with our heating oil and our gasoline and the fertilizer producers who use the oil, that comes later. That's after the election. The immediate job is what it is, and the Saudis have to go along, or else they get threatened in exactly the way you summarize.
That's interesting, and I'm thinking, George, I wonder, are the Iranians smart enough to know this was coming and to kind of almost in a Machiavellian fashion set this whole thing up, as some are charging?
No, I think they just sit back and watch the special relationship between the US and Saudi Arabia begin to asphyxiate, and that is what's happening. As Professor Wolff just said, the special relationship doesn't look so special now. The Trump administration has punished Saudi Arabia quite severely.
Yeah.
This is not just a token withdrawal, it's sending a big message to the world. And the punishment is for flooding the market with oil, trying to destroy the shale oil and fracking oil industry in the United States, and severely damaging the interests of the US-owned multinational oil companies. So you might say Saudi Arabia was a trifle ungrateful in doing that. because the United States underwrites the very existence of Saudi Arabia. And President Trump was very blunt about that last year when he said publicly that the Saudi royal dictatorship would, he didn't put it that way, wouldn't last 2 weeks. Without the American underwriting. And that was brutal, but true. So I don't think Iran has set this up, but Iran is clearly a beneficiary of it. I have to just add this caveat though, Rick. There's still plenty of US hardware in the Persian Gulf. The biggest US military base in the whole world is next door to Saudi Arabia in Qatar.
Persian Gulf.
And as we've discussed before, the Persian Gulf is chock-a-block.
EC. They made it the Hennessy utmost sea. Red Sea, Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia. Valley of Yahweh Shaphat.
Everyone's going to want our oil again, and we're going to be top dog. Are they smart, or are they right or wrong if they're thinking that way?
This thing going down, man.
Well, I think that they're probably carefully weighing the pros and cons of what might happen, since none of us really knows. Let me add another caution. Cutting production by 1 million barrels is not going to bring the price of oil up, because the problem is much bigger than that. There would have to be much larger cuts, both in Saudi Arabia and in the other oil-producing countries who are not at all in a position to do that, not Russia, not Nigeria, and so on. So I think you're going to see more maneuvering as each side tries to give up the least in order to get the most. And Saudi Arabia is going to have to do more cutting than we're seeing now if that's going to be the way to fix this problem. And they are going to resist because it's shaking up their own society.
So really, Professor Wolf and George Galloway, my thanks to both of these gentlemen for their...
And you see, that's what's popping off, man. Okay? Joel 2:20. Read again. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, the Persian Gulf, right here, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, right here, the Red Sea. Okay? They're going to be over here, Saudi Arabia, facing the Persian Gulf, man. Okay? And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. Okay? Wicked oppression, man. Habakkuk 2:5. Micah 2:2. Okay? Let's get this. This is Isaiah. Matter of fact, let me read Ezekiel. Because Ezekiel tell you that these nations is gonna join Russia. And they're gonna join with Russia and shoot missiles and destroy Babylon the Great. Ezekiel 38:1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. Turn thee back, meaning what? To that old Soviet Union war mind state, man. Okay? That old war mentality, man. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and all thine army. Okay? Horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield. You see, a great company, all of them handling swords. Here are some of the companies: Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia is going to be a guard to all these nations, man. And they're going to join with Russia to do what, man? to fight against Babylon the Great, man. This is prophecy. This is Joel 2:20 playing out, man. It's beautiful, man. This is understanding that Ezekiel 38 about Gog and Magog and all this company. You got to understand this. Isaiah 13 and 17. It reads, Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the sheep herds make their fold there. It say neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. North America has took their Patriot missiles from Saudi Arabia, man. Okay? Why? Because of the separation, man. Because of the separation of EU and NATO, man. That's what's going on. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 in verse 9. Let me get this still back up for a second. Jeremiah 50 and 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. The arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. It said that arrow shall be of a mighty expert man. Okay? Hey, Russia and Iran them constantly test their missiles, man. None shall return in vain. Why? Because this is the weapons of the Lord, man. Okay? It say, and the Chaldees shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. He tell you that in Isaiah 14, that all the kings of the earth is going to rejoice when Babylon the Great be thrown down, man. Okay? Verse 11 say, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage. The Lord said, of my heritage. All this is because you touched the apple of the Lord's eye. Because ye are grown fat as a heifer at grass, and bellows as bulls. Your mother shall be so confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed, which is Great Britain. Okay? It said, behold. It said, behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited. But it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. For she hath sinned against the Lord Yahweh. Right? It said your dealings had come up to the highest, man. Okay? Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her fornications are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done, do unto her. Okay? Let's jump down. Verse Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. World War III. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How was Babylon become a desolation among the nations? How? I have laid a snare for thee. This is the Lord saying. This is how Babylon have become a desolation among the nations. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken. Why? Because it tell you in Obadiah 1 and 7, you have none understanding. O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Why? Because this is the Lord playing chess, man. Okay? He's the master chess player, man. This is the Heavenly Father Yahweh playing chess, man. Again, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou also art taken, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art full and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh. because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh have opened up his army and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for this is the work of the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, in the land of Chaldea. Come against her from the utmost border. Okay, from the utmost border. Open her storehouse, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. You see that? Verse 29, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none therefore escape. Recompense her according to her works, according to all that she hath done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh. You see? This is future prophecy, man. This is and what does scripture say? That what is that? Jeremiah 50 and 45. It said the least of the flock shall draw them out, man. Okay. What is that? Jeremiah 51 and I think. I'll have to look it up. So going back to what was I finna get? Salaki for that. Oh, right. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. It reads, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Verse 14 say, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Why is this? Joel 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Who's parting the land of Israel right now? The Israelis and the Palestinians. Okay? They part in the land, which is neither one of theirs, man. Okay? The Lord is doing this why? For his will, man. Now I'm reading this again. Joel 3 and 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Hey, cause when you go to 2 Chronicles 18 and 18, the Lord uses his angels to put the spirits on these people, man, to fight, man. 2 Chronicles 18 and 18. Again, he said, therefore, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting upon his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and on the left. And the Lord said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake, saying after this manner, and another saying after that manner. Then there came out a spirit and stood before the Lord Yahweh and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? So one of the angels said, Lord, I got a great idea. And he said, wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord Yahweh hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil against thee. So when you go back to Joel 3, right, and 11, it said what? Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Hey, so the Lord put the spirit on these people, man. Okay, he uses angels to put spirit. Hey, the Lord is the master chess player, man. This is Proverbs 21:1. Listen to this. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. You see? Let's get this one. Proverbs 16:9. A man's heart divides his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Hey, so this is the Lord, man. Okay, Joel 2:20 is being fulfilled, man. This is prophecy playing out, man. Okay. Hey, they face towards the east sea and their hinder part towards the utmost sea, man. It's prophecy playing out, man. The Lord is gathering these nations to do what? Battle, man. Okay? Why? Because you have put your hand on the apple of the Lord's eye, man. Now this is Revelation 17. I'm gonna read verse 1. Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon the many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's why the nations is going to turn, man. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads is the Romans, the French, the Greek, the British, the Spanish, Germanium Major, and Germanium Minor. That's the 7 heads. The 10 horns is Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Greece, Ireland, England, West Germany, and Netherlands. That's the 10 horns. But now the 10 horns, they actually have, EU has like 29 nations now. And NATO, which is the beast, NATO, which makes up the beast, the 7 heads is NATO. They have like over 20 nations. Okay? NATO have like over 20 nations, which is the 7 heads. And the 10 horns is EU have over like 29 nations. And North America, Babylon the Great is the whore that sits on the beast. Verse 9, Revelation 17:9. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, which I just said, Romans, French, Greek, British, Spanish, Germanium Major, and Germanium Minor. Okay? Verse 15. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. If you understand about UN, which is in New York, all the nations are joined to North America through the UN, man, which is the beast, okay, which is the beast system, man. EU and NATO is the beast system, and North America is the harlot, the whore that sits on the beast, the woman. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Why? For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Everything is about the Lord's will, man. Everything. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. What is that? Until the elect be fully sealed, man. For power have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of power shall be fulfilled. And that's when the elect get sealed and our prophets are going to break loose, which we're waiting on is the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, being made mandatory. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Who is the great city? North America. It said that reigneth over the kings of the earth. When you go to, if you look at New York, the UN is there. All the nations is joined to North America through the beast system, man. Okay? Through the beast nations, man. EU and NATO. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7. It reads, all the men of thy confederacy, that's a buzzword, confederacy, have brought thee even to the border. I read that again in Jeremiah. They're going to bring them to the border. All the nations going to bring Babylon the Great to the border, which is right here. Saudi Arabia. Okay? That barren and desolate land, man. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him. They don't understand. Why? Because the pride of their heart have deceived them. What does it say in the top? All the men of thy confederacy. Who are the men of the confederacy of Babylon the Great? Let's read it. Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, the Israelites, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also has joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. These are the nations, as it say in Obadiah 1 and 7, that is going to come up against Babylon the Great. Again, Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. To do what? To make them fight. And what did it say? The least of the flock shall draw them out, man. Okay? Let me play this.
The U.S. is upping military pressure on China amid increased tensions over the South China Sea and accusing Beijing of seeking to leverage the coronavirus pandemic to extend its sphere of influence in the region. Over the last few weeks, U.S.
You see? And that's what it was. And that's all I want to play. Let me run it back. Hold on, Salakia. You know what? I ain't gonna even worry about it. Just attention of what's going on with Babylon the Great, man. Okay? They coming up against China because of the coronavirus, man.
Is on the rise. That means more and better equipped soldiers on land, more warships at sea, and more high-tech fighter jets in the skies. In 2018, worldwide military spending hit $1.8 trillion.
It has reached the highest point since us at SIPRI has started compiling world data over the last 30-something years.
So, what does all this mean? Does more military spending make the world safer, or is it a warning of conflict to come? The last time spending rivaled today's levels was at the height of President Reagan's Cold War arms buildup in the late 1980s. But the sudden collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 changed the game. Military spending soon plummeted, large-scale military conflicts virtually disappeared, for the most part at least, and the global economy boomed. By 1998, global spending hit its lowest point since the Cold War. But then,
there is a major incident in Lower Manhattan. Apparently, a plane has crashed into one of the upper floors of the World Trade Center.
The September 11th attacks in 2001 prompted a massive U.S. military mobilization for President Bush's War on Terror.
Our enemy is a radical network of terrorists, and every government that supports them.
As the U.S. and its allies deployed troops to Afghanistan and Iraq, global spending numbers swelled until Obama's first term, when war fatigue, internal budget pressures, and troop withdrawals pushed spending back down again. So if it wasn't Iraq and Afghanistan that propelled military spending to record levels in 2018, what was it? During all of this, a tectonic geopolitical shift was taking place in East Asia, the rise of China. In 1990, the US, the Soviet Union, then Germany, France, the UK, and so on made up the top 10 military spenders. But fast forward to 2018, and those top spenders have drastically changed. China has jumped from a share of just 2% to 14%, the second largest behind the US. The country's explosive economic growth allowed it to increase spending for 24 straight years, culminating in a 2018 budget of $250 billion. So, where's all that money going? To modernize China's People's Liberation Army. President Xi Jinping hopes to fully modernize the military by 2035 and complete training into a world-class force by 2049.
They want to assert themselves as a regional superpower, but also as a world superpower competing with US on a military basis.
And as I say, China is going to be the the monetary, and Russia is going to be the military, man. Okay, these nations is coming together, man. They coming together to destroy Babylon the Great, man.
Progress has been swift. Since just 2011, China has gone from having 0 commissioned aircraft carriers to 2 in operation and a 3rd under construction. The US, in comparison, has 11 much more massive and highly advanced carriers. The Chinese are fielding fighter jets as well, like the J-20 Chengdu and the Shenyang FC-31. Together, these fighters are designed to compete with America's latest generation stealth F-22 Raptor and F-35. U.S. officials claim the Chinese used hacked F-35 plans to help build these next-generation aircraft. And that leads us to cyber warfare. China is spending big there too. China doesn't only want to hack into U.S. computer networks, it wants to find a way to neutralize U.S. advantages on the physical battlefield.
China has been watching how the United States has conducted military operations very closely for the last 25 years. They understand how dependent we are on information-enabled technologies, and they have been developing asymmetric capabilities to deny us those key enabling technologies.
China's also spending money to update its nuclear arsenal, and the bombers and submarines that carry those weapons of mass destruction. Then, there's hypersonic missiles. They travel more than 5 times the speed of sound, making them difficult to detect and neutralize. And if that wasn't enough, these cutting-edge weapons also come tipped with nuclear warheads.
Another really significant area is China's development of anti-satellite weapons. Space is critical to just about everything we do with regards to military operations, for reconnaissance, to communicating with our own forces, to placing weapons on targets. If China or other adversaries can deny the United States access to space-based capabilities, that would fundamentally change the military equation here on Earth.
China is also expanding its military presence beyond its borders. In 2017, China opened its first overseas base in the African country of Djibouti. China has been flexing its military muscles in its own backyard as well. China is trying to project power into the South China Sea, where it has territorial disputes over resource-rich islands and shallow reefs with nations like the Philippines and Vietnam. China has begun unilaterally asserting claims over these islands, turning several into full-scale military installations and demanding vessels recognize Chinese authority in surrounding waters. An international court ruled against these actions in 2016. The US also rebuffs China's demands by frequently sailing Navy ships through the waters China claims. Still, China shows no signs of backing down.
There is the prospect that the two sides could get into a skirmish, a crisis, or even potentially a war in the waters or airspace over the South China Sea.
And that's going to be the end all be all, man. This Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12. It reads, "One woe is past, World War I, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter." Revelation 11 and 14. "The second woe is past, World War II, and behold, the 3rd woe cometh quickly," man. Okay?
Or even more likely, in my view, over Taiwan.
The island of Taiwan, once under mainland China's control, broke away during China's Communist Revolution with US support, and now governs itself as a democracy. But today's mainland communist leadership still claims the island.
Most analysts don't believe that China has the ability today to launch an amphibious invasion of Taiwan and take the country over by force and occupy it. What concerns more observers is the possibility that China might use some of its increasing military capabilities to try to blockade or coerce Taiwan into politically unifying with the mainland.
President Xi Jinping has ramped up military exercises around Taiwan and further diplomatically isolated the island since he came to power in 2012.
The other thing to remember about China's military spending is a lot of its military spending is actually directed internally toward maintaining political stability within China.
Hey, you can't make this up, man. You see? Joel 2:20, man, is being fulfilled. Ezekiel 28:7. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of the wisdom, against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them. They are slain that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man. Okay? Isaiah 14, 2 Thessalonians 2. And no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, saith the Lord Yahweh. Power, man. Okay? Well, we see, hey, this is beautiful, man. Joel 2:20 is being fulfilled, man. World War III is brewing, man. And Russia will be a guard to all the other nations, the allies of North America, because they will soon leave North America, man. You already got EU now, okay? Already separated, man. It's already happening, man. Yeah, I woke up this morning to some beautiful news, man. Cause this is a major prophecy going on right here, man. Okay? Joel 2:20, man. A land barren and desolate. A Lord witness edifying. Gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well. And a sincere salutation to all the oxygen pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Akwafu while listening and learning. Hey, let me read this. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that's why she shall be taken, man. The Lord wasn't edifying. Until next time, I say, shalom.